Hey there, Susie here. If you work one-on-one with clients, it's easy to think that your income is capped by the number of hours you can work. But believe me, it doesn't have to be like that. When I first started, I believed the same thing, that my revenue would hit a ceiling once my hours were maxed out. But I explored new strategies and I realized my profit didn't need to be tied to the clock. That's exactly what I want to share with you at the Profitable Business Workshop. I'll show you how to grow your business and your income with the products and services that will help you get your money goals, and how to help more clients without burning out or feeling like your income is capped by time. Grab your free seat at profitablebusinessworkshop.com now. That's profitablebusinessworkshop.com, and I'll see you there. For years, I believed that the harder I worked, the more hours I put in, the more successful I would become. It was all about hustling, grinding, pushing through. It was all I knew how to do, and I assumed it was also how successful people around me were operating as well. I was running 3 businesses at this time in my life. I was flying across continents multiple times a year, and I was working crazy hours every week. And even though I wasn't taking care of my mental or physical well-being, even though I was consistently exhausted, I remember thinking, this is what success looks like, right? I had, quote unquote, made it. The money was great, I was managing large teams, and I was officially a big fish in the business pond. And then, bam, burnout hit me like a freight train. And I'm talking about really bad burnout. My body said it was time to do something different. So this was not the kind of burnout that you can fix by having a lovely cup of herbal tea or a 5-minute walk around the block, because we all know that is not what burnout is. And when I hit this point, I learned something I had never expected. The thing that actually helped me grow more in tune with my business, the thing that helped me find the track I am on to this day, the track that makes me fulfilled and happy, it was not working harder. It was actually stepping away, taking a break, traveling and reassessing what I actually wanted, and doing that regularly. So today I'm going to share with you why stepping away can actually make your business grow, not just faster, but have you be more in tune with what you really want, help you really get your spark back, help you overcome burnout, and help you grow your business. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Her Business Podcast. I'm your host, Susie Daphnis, CEO at Her Business, and today I'm going to float an idea with you that I strongly believe, but one that is also counterintuitive from what we're usually told about business. As women business owners, we often feel a lot of guilt around stepping back from day-to-day busyness in our business. Most of us think, if I'm not working, my business will fall apart. Or I don't have time to take a break. I simply have way too much to do. Or resting feels selfish. I need to keep going because there are people relying on me, clients, staff, whoever it is. And I absolutely understand these feelings. I used to feel exactly the same way. But here's the thing, pushing yourself to be on does not make you more productive. It actually does the opposite when you're doing this all the time. It slows your business growth, it mutes your creativity, it dims your spark, and it sends you straight to one destination, the destination I found myself in, which is burnout. And I learned this the hard way. As I said, this was back when I was running 3 businesses at once, and they were all thriving. Each one was pulling in 6 or 7 figures every year. Actually, they were all pulling in 7 figures. I had achieved the traditional definition of success. And one day I was on a call with someone on my team. I don't even remember what the meeting was about at this point, but it was nothing out of the ordinary, just a standard sort of catch up. And then mid-conversation, my vision started to blur. And I try to focus on the person speaking. I try to do that thing we all do, just push through, grin and bear it, this will pass, keep going. But my body said, no. And I actually ended up getting really lightheaded and ended up on the floor on that call, dizzy and throwing up. Not pretty, I get it. It was not good. It was very scary, and I know it was very scary for my team member as well. Now, while I won't get too into the weeds of what happened, let's say my body knew that I was doing far too much. I was too stressed, my hours were too long, I was pushing. I was moving too quickly. And even though I was successful, there was something seriously out of alignment going on internally. And so I made the decision to stop. For the first time in years, I stopped. For the first time in like 13 years, I stopped. And I actually moved back to Australia. I was living in the US at the time, running a business there. And I took the time to evaluate what I really wanted. So both my partner PJ and I knew something had to change because he was similarly in a state of where his well-being and his mental health were kind of out of alignment. So we knew something had to change. In fact, he came to the conclusion months before this incident that I had. But no, I wanted to keep pushing. We can do this. It's fine. So anyhow, we decided to make a big change, even though it meant scaling things back and potentially not making the same revenue. But when I did that, when I consciously made the decision to step back, take a break, and reevaluate what I really wanted, my life absolutely changed. It made me realize that what I wanted now at this point in my life, when I made that decision, was not spending my days on business calls across all the time zones and flying across all the oceans. What actually gave me purpose and pride was helping other women business owners find their success and find their success in a way that felt true to them. That's when I sold one of those businesses, permanently relocated back to Australia, and poured everything into what I really loved, which, as you may guess, is her business. It's helping other women to grow their businesses. So if you've ever felt guilt about taking time off, if you've ever worried that stepping away will make you fall behind, I get it. And this episode is for you. So I have 5 things I want to share with you, 5 reasons why stepping away actually helps your business grow and how you can make that transition for yourself. And ideally do it before you hit that rock bottom that I did. And the first point I want to make is that distance creates clarity for you and your business. So imagine you're trying to complete a jigsaw puzzle. If you are staring up close at one piece, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't actually make any sense. It's just a blur of color, maybe an outline of a shape that you might be able to guess, but no matter which way you turn that puzzle piece, it has no meaning. But when you step back, look at the other pieces in your collection, when you take a look at the big picture, you start to see how that piece fits. And that's exactly how business works. When you're in the weeds of your business every single day, it's damn near impossible to see the big picture. You're so caught up in client work, in emails, in campaigns, meetings, to-do lists, and you just don't have the mental space to ask, where is this actually taking me? Is this even the direction that I want to go? What is actually working and what is just keeping me busy? And when I stepped away, when I came back to Australia and took a good long look at my life from a bird's eye view, from a distance, I realized that so much was wrong. And I realized that where I wanted my business to go was somewhere different. And I realized where I wanted my actual whole life to go. I began to understand that working at the caliber I was at was not something sustainable for me or for my health. And stepping away made me begin to do things like eat healthier, get into an exercise routine, appreciate my body again. My body became not just the vessel I used to get client outcomes and write emails and hit KPIs. It was this thing that I inhabited every day that I'd been kind of abusing. The thing that let me, well, I don't know if abusing is the right word, but I was not taking care of it. But it was the thing that let me move and experience the world fully. It allowed me to go for walks and runs, things that I love, and to be present, like truly present. I also began to realize that living in my head, living in this busy, I was also surprisingly kind of lonely and disconnected. Now, I wasn't alone because I was certainly surrounded by people, whether that was my clients, my teams, or, strangers sitting around me or people I met at business seminars. And while there were people constantly around me, I still felt kind of alone in business because my work life, those hours I was pulling, meant I didn't have time to go out to dinner with friends, kept postponing. I didn't have time to call and catch up with family. I didn't even have time really to spend with my partner, even though we live in the same house. except maybe 10 minutes in the morning when we weren't talking about the business, or when we grabbed dinner in front of the television at night when I was often really just too tired to have anything meaningful to say. And I needed a change. And stepping back made me realize that work and conventional success weren't the only things that I wanted. So I prioritized my health, but I also prioritized the people around me. I found more time for chats with girlfriends. I found time to interact with other women business owners. I found time to grab dinner and go for a walk with my partner, or to walk the dog. And some of those were like no work conversations. Quite often it was like, no, this is our time. I found time also just to spend time with me. And stepping away gives you clarity. It gives you a clear view of what your life has and what your life is also missing. And you find the things that make you into a whole person, a whole human. And this leads to the second reason that I think we get burnt out and we lose our spark. And that is we do not rest. Rest increases not just your productivity, but also your creativity. And I found that creativity is one thing that I simply didn't have time for when I was going. Now, I was productive, but it was kind of all very robotic. And creativity was something I desperately missed. Many of my best ideas for my business, anything that's ever been leading edge, first to the market, has come to me when I'm out of my office, when I'm with the people I love, or I'm listening to women talk about their businesses, or I'm celebrating wins, or I'm in a city in a part of the world that I love, or I'm out in nature. And this isn't just a me thing. Paul McCartney came up with the song Yesterday when he was dreaming, when he was sleeping, he was resting, and he woke up, he ran to the piano, he played out what he heard in his sleep. And his brain connected to a melody when he was resting. And that would go on to be one of the most famous songs in history, right? One of my favourite songs for sure. And we all know that Isaac Newton discovered gravity when he was just sitting under an apple tree. He wasn't in a lab. He wasn't grinding away at research. He was resting under a tree, watching nature quietly. And there's a legend of the Greek mathematician. His name was Archimedes. And he discovered how to measure the volume of an irregular object, right? What is that even? But he discovered that while he was in a bath. And Steve Jobs, right, he came up with a design for Apple by traveling through India. He was inspired by simplicity and minimalism that came with the meditations that he did when he was there. The artist Dali, the surrealist artist, he got his out-of-this-world ideas for his paintings when he was on the brink of naps. That's when he let his creativity wander. And I could go on and on with other examples. Now, some of our best artistic minds, engineering minds, mathematical minds, they created world-changing things when they took the time to stop, to pause, to rest. When we pause, unlike a machine that stops working, we start working. It's when we pause that we have time to reassess, that we have time to put into motion what our heart desires. So these examples I gave you, they happen when people were just walking, they were traveling, they were chatting, they were even sleeping or napping. And they happen because your brain isn't just a machine. You just can't run 24/7 and expect to stay creative and to stay lit up. And I'm sure you've experienced this phenomenon too. I know that I can only sit at a computer screen for so long when I'm writing content for emails, for podcasts like this. It's when I step away, I take a break, or I'm inspired by a conversation or a podcast I'm listening to, that's when the creativity strikes. That's when my best ideas come flooding in. So I want you to remember that your brain does its best work when it has space, when it's inspired or in awe or feeling joy or feeling connected. And I'm positive that you've had moments like this too, and I would love to hear about them. I really would. So let me know those times when creativity has hit you out of nowhere. You can email me, or you can head over to Her Business Instagram posts about this episode, or DM me on Instagram and let me know. Just a couple of days ago, I was with our members for one of our quarterly strategy meetings, and I could see it right there as these women took half a day out of their work, like they do 4 times a year attending our strategy meetings, they were making connections, not only with other women, but with their heart's desires, with their goals for the next quarter, with ideas that had been sort of on simmer in the background. They finally had the space to think them through, to make plans. So I want you to remember that your brain does its best work when it has space. All right, so the third reason that we lose our spark and we go into burnout, and I'm going to tell you how to overcome it, is a little bit more about this trip that Steve Jobs so famously had to India. So apparently the trip was life-changing for 19-year-old then, Steve. It was a moment of personal transformation, spiritual inspiration, and this gave him the spark for designing his products, what we would come to have in our pockets on our desks every day. And what he said was that he found beauty in simplicity in his meditations that he took when he was in India. And he brought back the idea to create products that were both easy to use and sleek, clean, minimalist in design, as we know Apple products are. So did he go to India specifically to contemplate, way back then, what the iPhone might look like? No, he didn't. He made the trip because he was seeking out a new experience. And those new experiences ended up giving him the spark of creativity that would create something huge, momentous down the road. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to book a flight to Delhi right now, although if you do, let me know how it is, because it's a place that I definitely have on my bucket list. But what I am encouraging you to do is step out of your routine. When you go somewhere new or experience something new, you feel your mind wake up. There's something about stepping into a new environment, whether that is a new country or just a different cafe, that makes us seem differently. For me, there have been dozens of occasions where traveling and getting out of my routine has sparked business breakthroughs. And it was in a little cottage, a blue cottage actually, on the south coast of New South Wales, the state in which I live right now, that I set my sights firstly on $1 million business over 20 years ago. It was while visiting New York, I was inspired and realized that I wanted to let more of me shine through in my business. More of my personality, more of imbuing me into everything I do. It was hiking on a mountain in Canada that I realized I wanted to start the Business Trailblazers hikes for women. And that's something I'll talk about more in this episode. That came out of this personal experience that I have, where I was taking time to pause, to stop, to reflect, to get my spark back. And I constantly reap the rewards of going to new places or doing new things or meeting new people. I always come back with ideas or inspiration for my business, no matter what I'm doing. Whether I'm going to a new cafe and there's something on the signboard that I see, or I'm walking down the street, or I take a different path when I'm walking in the park. As I said, it doesn't mean you have to book a flight. It might mean not rushing through your next grocery store or coffee shop order and taking a few minutes to talk to the staff. Maybe it means taking your family out for a day to do an activity that you've never done before. Maybe it means going right instead of left on your usual morning walk. Maybe it's trying pickleball or pole dancing or a pottery class. They're all things that I've been talking to a friend about us possibly trying. And I encourage you to embrace new experiences, whether they're big or small, rather than getting stuck in your routine of busy, 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 work, work, work. Because it's in these moments of pause that our thinking expands. You never know who, what, or where might spark something for you. Alrighty, let's get to the fourth reason why stepping back from your business actually makes it grow. It gets you your spark back. It gets you out of that feeling of burnout, and it helps grow your business. Now, this is a big one, but it might be one that's a little hard to hear. Now, if your business cannot survive without you for a few days or weeks, then let's be honest, that is not a sustainable business. It's not sustaining itself. It's not sustaining you. So some might even argue that it isn't a business at all. It's a job. And I know that's hard to hear. So hear this. By stepping away for a while, you're using a let's throw the kids in the deep end approach, right? Let's throw them in the deep end and see what happens. Let's leave the baby alone and see what happens when I'm away. And when you do that, it's going to highlight what you need to work on. right? So maybe, yes, leave the team in charge, leave your virtual assistant in charge. It's going to force you to create systems, delegate, and to trust your team. And all those are good things. If something falls to the floor, great, you're going to learn something. But you not stepping away, you not taking the time you need, that is not going to work for you long term. So no matter what happens, it's all going to be good. When you can step away and know things aren't going to fall apart, then you've got a well-established business. You have a sustainable business. You have the sort of business that I love helping women create. You'll come back stronger, knowing what you need to do and feeling better in yourself. Which brings us to the fifth reason. And that's the version of you that steps away is never the same as the version of you that returns. Stepping away from your business makes you stronger. It makes you more aligned with what you really want. And it shows you what your business really, really needs. Now, you come back with more energy. You come back with your spark. You have creative ideas and you have a clearer sense of what truly matters to you. And for me, stepping away helped me realize that I didn't even want a large business anymore. All right, that was something 30-year-old version of me wanted. But when I reached the point of burnout, I finally understood that it was actually time that I reoriented myself. Stepping back showed me that I didn't actually want to run 3 businesses anymore. It showed me that I didn't want to focus on profits and revenue as much as I did. Instead, I wanted to mentor. I wanted to support people. I wanted to put more into my business that helped me help more women grow. Now, taking the time and giving myself a break is the whole reason I'm talking to you right now. It's the reason I pour so much into her business. It's the reason I love what I do. So if you feel like something is not quite right in your life or in your business, then give yourself permission to pause. It's not a luxury. It's not selfish. It's not unjustified. It's actually the key to creating a business and a life that is aligned. It's the thing that is required for you to have your spark, not to have it for a while and then see it fizzle out. It's to have it, this burning fire that moves you forward, right? A burning fire that moves you forward, not a burnout that shuts you down. So to end this episode, I want to let you in on a little secret. I'm actually recording this episode early because I decided to take my own freaking advice. I am once again deciding to intentionally take the pause and take the space that I need. So as you're listening, I am hiking the mountains of New Zealand because I am walking the talk. I am following through with what I'm telling you today because I truly believe it. So right now, I am with a handful of other women business owners going on this adventure to bring more clarity into my life, into my business, and they into theirs. And this New Zealand trip is the first of our Business Trailblazers multi-day hikes for women business owners. So what we've done is we've partnered with an incredible business called Women's Fitness Adventures to put on these experiences for women business owners who want to step outside of their routines and do something completely out of the ordinary. And that's see beautiful places, be with incredible women, stretch themselves physically, emotionally, mentally, to try something new, to prepare and train for something. So these adventures are for women who are looking for that thing, that spark, for women who are looking for their Steve Jobs moment, right? Steve Jobs in India, or Archimedes in the bathtub, or Isaac Newton under the apple tree, or Paul McCartney coming up with Yesterday in his sleep. And you can have one of those life-changing moments for yourself in October of this year, because I'm gathering a group of 14 inspired women business owners to come with me and Women's Fitness Adventures to Crete, Greece. Yes, you heard that right, Greece, for a multi-day business hike. It's 8 days away and it's 6 days of hiking. And it's going to be our second official Business Trailblazers adventure, and I would love for you to join us. If you've been stuck, if you've been feeling guilty about taking time for yourself, if you're looking everywhere for that spark to reignite your passion for life and your passion for your business, then I invite you to join me. It's going to be an incredible adventure. It's not a boardroom retreat. There's no conference rooms, no PowerPoint slides. We are taking business to the trails, and it's just 14 inspiring women who are looking to get their moments of clarity while hiking the coasts of Crete. beautiful island of Crete. And this particular Trailblazers hike in October is special to me. I am the daughter of Greek immigrants who came to Australia with almost nothing to their name. And I grew up surrounded by stories of Greece, the food, the music. And while I've been a number of times in my life, I can't think of anything more special than being there in this hike, in this location, with a group of amazing women business owners. And as I said, we only have 14 spots available. Some of those are already taken up by members of the Her Business Network. So if you'd like to come along with me on this incredible adventure and do something completely new, you'll find the link to apply in the show notes of this episode and at herbusinesstrailblazers.com. Even if you're not able to join us in Greece, try and incorporate these 5 elements into your life in a way that is feasible for you so that you can get back your spark. You can overcome burnout, and all that will help you grow your business, because so much comes from stepping back and discovering the path that you're meant to walk. And if you're curious about Trailblazers but you're not sure, am I fit enough? Is this right for me and my business? Then let's talk. I'm happy to help and to hear your story. I want to give a shout out to one of our members before I wrap up this episode, and that is to Veronique from Unique Tenant Consult. Now, she listened to an episode which coincidentally was called How to Be a Trailblazer in Your Industry, and in that I interviewed the wonderful Amanda Farmer of Your Strata Property. She is a trailblazer in her industry. She's a lawyer. She specialises in strata law, but she's a very non-traditional lawyer, and she's created a business where 50% of her income comes from non-client facing work, something that's unheard of in that industry. And so Veronique said, hi, Susie and Amanda. I just enjoyed listening to episode 253, How to Be a Trailblazer in Your Industry. Thank you for sharing the invaluable insights and strategies, leveraging the media, your candid reflection on being wobbly, very inspirational. So thank you, Veronique. Thank you for the review. That is a great episode. I'll put a link to it in our show notes, which will be over at herbusiness.com/296. And it's also there where I'll put any notes from today, as well as a link to any resources I mentioned, and of course the Business Trailblazers hike. So if you enjoyed this episode, would you do me a favor and leave us a rating or review? You can shoot me a message at the email address podcast@herbusiness.com. You can direct message me on Instagram, or you can do the bestest thing, and that is head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating or a review. And if you are new to this show, welcome. Thank you for being here. Be sure to subscribe or follow wherever you're listening, and join me right here on the Her Business podcast for more inspiring stories and lessons from successful female entrepreneurs. Bye for now.